Henry Ford was born on the farm of his father on the 30th of July 1863 in the area that is now Dearborn, Michigan. His father, William Ford, was the owner of a farm where all the people in the family was a working and living unit and was the oldest one of the 6 kids, Henry. It is believed that they will assume the family's company, but he was not like his father. He was not at all interested in his father's farm. While Henry tried his best to assist on the farm, he hated the idea of it. He never had a special love for the farm. It was his mother's farm. His mother, Mary Ford, loved Henry Ford. Like the majority of the kids his age, not a fan of attending school, but never making it beyond the 8th grade, he favored to study things according to his own rules. At a young age, he began to be extremely interested in mechanics, and this fascination for machines led him to study each detail of equipment he come across. When he was 12, his father gifted him with a pocket watch. After playing around with it, he learned to take it apart and put it back together, earning him a name as a repairman of watches. He began repairing watches for people living in the community when he was 13. Henry came across a steam engine for the first time when he was on a school trip to one of Detroit's businesses. His passion for mechanics turned into an obsession in years. It was his new pastime. When he was 15, he built his steam engine, but his life changed after that. Henry lost his mother, Mary Ford, to a sudden illness. Devastated by the loss, Henry's hatred for the farm grew more intense. He began to look for ways to get out of his family farm, as it held too many memories of his mother. Turning 16 and against the wishes of his parents, he packed his belongings and left the village in search of a change in life. Detroit, rapidly growing as an industrial city thanks to the steam engine, became the place where Henry would reinvent himself. He found a job at the Michigan Car Company, but was fired just 16. Unemployed for a while, he then got an opportunity to work as an apprentice in James Flower and Brothers machine shop. In 1882, at the age of 19, Henry decided to go back home to Michigan. Despite spending very much little time on the farm, he spent the bulk of his time playing and testing machines he stumbled across. Luckily, his father had bought a portable steam engine, which rapidly became the norm for farmers. Henry spent a lot of time with this machine, and a neighbor paid him $3 to run his steam engine, showcasing Henry's talent and knack for machines. In 1885, Henry met Clara, exuberant at a New Year's celebration, and they were married the following year. His father gave him 40 acres, but instead of turning it into a farmland, Henry had different ideas. In 1891, Henry and Clara got an apartment in Detroit, and around this time, he came across a British magazine that detailed a gasoline engine. The gas engine made in very small quantities by a German engineer was called the Nicholas automobile and was more effective than steam engines. In 1893, Henry got a job at the Edison Illumination Company, where he worked as an engineer. His task was to repair the engine if there was a fault, but it gave him plenty of time to immerse himself in studying electric power and its functions. In 1893, Henry and Clara were thrilled to have their first child, Edsel Bryant Ford. Just 3 months after his birth, Henry was elevated to the post of chief engineer on a salary of $100 per week. In the same year, Henry succeeded in building the first working gas engine, a significant step towards his vision of developing a horseless carriage. It wasn't until June 4, 1896 at 1:30 a.m. that he finished his experimental car using a gas engine. The quadricycle was a simple contraption made up of two bicycles placed side by side and driven by a gasoline motor. It had its issues, including the lack of a cooling system, but it marked the beginning of Henry's journey in the automotive industry. He sold the quadricycle for $200 and used the funds to fund another major project. With the backing of the Detroit mayor, Henry built his second car, a larger and more robust version than the previous one. The Detroit Automobile Company was founded in 1899 but failed due to various reasons. Undeterred, Henry continued to pursue his passion. In 1903, he founded the Ford Motor Company with financial support from investors. Henry Ford's focus was on creating affordable cars for the common man, and in 1908 he introduced the Model T. The Model T's success revolutionized the automotive industry, making cars accessible to the average person. In 1913, Henry implemented the assembly line at his Highland Park factory, rationing production time and costs. The Model T's popularity soared, and by 1914, Ford was producing over 300,000 vehicles a year. Facing competition, Henry introduced the Model A in 1927, but by the late 1920s, Ford's market share declined. The introduction of the V8 engine in 1930s brought some success, but Ford Motor Company faced financial challenges. In 1943, Henry Ford's son, Edsel, died, leading to a change in leadership. In 1945, Henry handed over control of the company to his grandson, Henry II. Henry Ford's innovations included the assembly line and affordable cars, transformed the automotive industry. This Ford Motor Company remains a major player in the global automobile market. Henry Ford passed away on April 7, 1947, leaving behind a legacy of industrial and automotive achievements. Today, Ford Motors continues to be a significant player in the automotive industry with a market capitalization of around $70 billion.